Developer Game Freak is really known for one thing. Well, maybe two if you're hardcore enough. And while it was Pokemon that put them on the map in 1996, they've been making games since long before then. So that's why today we're going to look at the first game that they made, Mendel Palace for the NES.
Game Freak was actually founded in the late 80s, but not as a game developer. It started out as a self-published video game magazine written by Satoshi Tajiri and illustrated by Ken Sugimori, who are known now as the creator and character designer of the Pokemon series. They later shifted their focus to game development, and their first title was an action puzzler for the Famicom called Quinty, which Namco published in Japan in June of 1989. It later made its way to North America in October 1990, courtesy of Hudson Soft, and was retitled as Mendel Palace. Looking at the art for the Famicom version, as well as the associated manga, it's very clear that Sugimori was the artist, as the style is very reminiscent of the early watercolor designs that were the origins of the Pokemon series. As par for the course at the time, the promotional materials did get a redesign as they headed out west, giving them more of an American comic book feel. In Quinty, the game tasks you, as a young boy named Carton, to save your girlfriend Jenny, who's been kidnapped by Carton's younger sister Quinty. Mendel Palace switches it up a bit, renaming the hero Bon Bon, and tweaking the goal to instead be rescuing a princess named Candy from being trapped in her own dream. It's all back-of-the-box material and isn't reflected at all in-game, so if playing as a hero named Bon Bon doesn't appeal to you, you can always pretend he's still named Carton, which I guess is still kind of a silly name. Anyway, the gameplay in Mendel Palace consists of flipping floor tiles in order to collect stars and defeat the evil dolls that populate each stage. Defeating all the enemies in a stage will move you on to the next, regardless of how many stars are left. Collecting 100 stars gets you an extra life, so both tasks are equally important.
And that's exactly what makes Mendel Palace so much fun. You have these two conflicting gaming instincts battling for control of your mind, and you have to balance them. If you try to leave all the enemies alone and collect all the stars, then that's a good way to die. But if you try to take out all the enemies first, you're going to wind up accidentally flipping over a lot of star tiles and losing track of where they are, so it's a very delicate balancing act.
It all teeters on the edge of being overwhelming, but fortunately that's right where addictive gameplay often takes root, so you'll often find yourself groaning loudly in frustration as you struggle, but you'll keep coming back for more. There are 10 levels, each with 10 stages, but to be honest, I can't beat the first 8. They all feature enemy dolls with different abilities. Some break apart into smaller dolls, others jump to avoid being flipped, there's fat ones that can flip tiles by slamming their feet, and others drop pictures that prevent you from flipping those tiles. There's a ton of variety, and as the level layouts are constantly changing, you always have to be on your toes. There are special tiles though, like some that flip every tile in each of the 4 cardinal directions, some that flip the entire board, some that offer bonuses, and even flipping tiles that send you flying around. These are actually really fun to use because using them right can result in you easily becoming a doll-killing machine. The game controls great, with my only gripes coming with how the tiles work. You can only collect stars by walking on the very center of the tile. Walking on the edge doesn't work. Also, when flipping tiles, sometimes you'll flip the one you're standing on, and sometimes you'll flip the one in front of you depending on how you're positioned, which can get very frustrating when you're surrounded by enemies. So while Mendel Palace is a great example of a game that's Nintendo hard, it's fun and exciting enough to keep you wanting more. While there's no save or password feature, you can continue as much as you want, and the game will start you exactly where you were when you got a game over. It also helps that the game has wonderful presentation. You can definitely see the Pokemon connection in the character sprites, which managed to cram a lot of personality into some really basic designs. The game's music, which is composed by another Game Freak mainstay, Junichi Masuda, is also a very high point, featuring toe-tapping ditties that will stick in your head long after you've hit the power button and walked away.
Now, Mendel Palace isn't a game I see out in the wild very often, but a loose card's going to run you under $10. If you want a complete box copy, it's going to be anywhere from $15 to $25. Considering the amount of replayability you're going to get out of it, it's definitely worth the money.
Mendel Palace is a unique and exciting game that, aside from being a lot of fun to play, is also a really neat collectible as the very first game put out by one of the world's most famous development studios. It's got it all. Great sprite work, addictive gameplay, catchy music, and will have you saying, okay, just one more try, more times than you'll probably want to admit. Since I picked it up, it's become one of my favorite NES games. I'd absolutely consider this a must-have.